I'm Simon Ditchburn. I'm the Managing Director of the Tudor Group of Companies, and this is the true star of the show. In our last video, you saw us actually craning some of those finished walls into position on the building site. Well, up here in the showroom, we've put a demonstration unit together to show our customers exactly what goes on behind those panels. Now, you've got a combination here of the insulation, which is in the centre, and then, of course, the final finishing, which is the concrete. And we have two different types of wall. We have a 15 centimetre wall. This is the thickness that divides all of the apartments from each other. And then we have a more narrow 10 centimetre wall that separates your bedroom and your bathroom, for example. Now, the 15 centimetre wall means you don't have to listen to your next door's television, for example. But it's actually a combination of two different companies. I spent months going around Thailand trying to find that precast company that wasn't going to give me just a solid block of concrete. I needed the insulation and the lightness of the walls as well. As you can imagine, building a wall as a sandwich, an insulation sandwich, this is less than 50% of the weight of a normal panel. So what we have here is a combination of two different companies behind the scenes. We have an insulation company which is local to us here in Pattaya, a company called Easy Panel. Now, that company will actually make the insulation slabs, including all of the reinforcing steel. These slabs are then delivered to a second moulding company that actually sandwiches everything together within the concrete. Now, the key part to that factory is they can also install for me all of my electrics, my boxes. So once it's delivered here on site, it's totally finished. All we have to do is put the cables down inside and then finish off with the frontage of the switches or the sockets. I really believe this is going to be the future of construction. Okay, back down onto the building site again, and here is a different type of panel that I'm using. It's what we call hollow core. It's been cored out and it's hollow core. Now, the advantage with this panel is because of those hollow corings, it makes this panel less than 50% of a complete solid concrete panel with the rebar steels coming through. So I have an advantage there of the lightness of that panel, but we still have the strength because of the ribbing that's left inside that panel. Now, we're using these panels today actually on the retaining wall at the back, and once again it's just craned into position. If you can imagine, on the day of actual installation, it's all about being able to fit this together quickly, because these panels are suspended on the end of a cable with the crane, and once that crane's lifted it into position, we need to be able to lock these panels quickly and safely without the possibility of one of these panels falling on top of you. So what we've done is we've taken standard dowling bar, threaded bar, and we've actually welded a plate onto the back of that bar. So when the panel is lifted into position and it's still on the crane cables, we can actually slide this bar into the column, securing the plate, and bolt it on the other side. That gives me the safety of knowing the panel's going to be there. I can release the cables from the crane and we can worry about the last of the fixings at a later date. A big part of construction isn't just knowing how the building itself goes together. You've got to work yourself around problems with the actual building site itself. Things like deliveries, for example. How do we get those panels in place? And the reason why I'm putting this retaining wall in now and not later is because I do actually have a problem at the moment with deliveries and those panels. Basically, our building site is completely surrounded by these electric cables. Now I have to work a way of getting these panels into position without disturbing those electric cables, and at the moment the panels are being delivered on the outside and we can't physically crane them over the top. So in this particular area, by putting the retaining wall in now and backfilling all of this earth, which will end up being above me where I stand here now, it brings me level with the road. In the future, the trucks will be able to drive into this area and we'll be able to safely crane the panels away from the truck, being inside the site and no longer having to lift them over the top of the power cables. Even though we're craning these panels into position and they're actually primarily bolted together, we're still dealing with them like they're giant blocks. They're staggered and they're still cemented like you would traditionally. As well as all the action that you've seen at the back side of the condo, which was craning in all of those panels, on the front side of the condo we're also pouring the concrete into the columns. Now that means I have just 14 columns to make. That's about 1 week in working time, and I can start putting the scaffold in which will form the second floor. My steel and scaffold has already arrived, and you can see in this back area we're starting to set it up already. So in our next episode I'll take you through exactly how we do it, pour the wet concrete, all the cables, all the post tension, and we'll show you the secrets behind the scenes. So we'll see you next time.